For the blacksmith shop, we find that we used to buy coal, and which not coal so much as sort of chunk charcoal, and it burns okay in the forge, but this homemade charcoal that we make burns cleaner and doesn't spark as much, and that keeps the men from not having to worry about holes in their clothing.
This is called the colliery?
Yes. That log over there, we're going to start demonstrating how they made log canoes by burning out the canoe hull through burning the wood and letting it smolder and then scraping it out with shells.
Oh, that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah. And here we are at the blacksmith shop with our blacksmith.
Now, while it's still cool, it's my chance to make sure that I've got the pipe nice and clean for today. Hey, there you go. Do that. Hello.
Hello.
You're just in time for me to be lighting the fire. So I can make sure these work.
What are those?
Oh, I got a leak down here. You hear this one sounds different? Yep. These are called double concertina bellows. This is the bellows that I use to add air to the fire to get it hot enough for blacksmithing. The charcoal that I use for fuel, if I don't have the bellows, it would get plenty hot enough to cook on, but it wouldn't get hot enough for melt or getting my iron red hot so I can forge it. So by adding these simple but elegant bellows here, I can put a constant flow of air, extra air with extra oxygen to the fire, and that's what lets it get such a hot heat. It gets 3,000 degrees, this charcoal fire with the bellows. Okay, so that's better. I put these on and off every day, so there's always I'm always checking to make sure they're not leaking. And they can leak a little bit, and it doesn't hurt too much. Okay. So here's where I just dumped out the charcoal from yesterday, and I'm just going to pick up the big pieces because they're nice and dry, and use them to help me start my fire today. I'm trying to leave the ashes behind. Okay, so that'll be the first stuff I put on. All right, so here's my flint and steel that I used to start the fire. A flint is a very hard piece of rock, local, and steel is a very hard piece of metal. And so when I strike the flint against the steel, I get sparks like this. And those sparks themselves aren't enough to start the fire. What I need is something to kind of catch them and hold the fire a little bit. So I use char cloth for that. This char cloth we make ourselves, just like we make our charcoal, by we put regular cloth in here, cotton cloth, cut out little squares and put it in here, and we put it on the fire, and then as it gets really hot, it smokes and burns and flames, but when it stops smoking, then we take it off with the tongs and set it and let it cool, and when we open it up, we find the black char cloth like this. It's been burnt pretty thoroughly, but not completely. If we put just cloth in the fire, it'd burn and make ashes, and we have nothing. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get this to catch a spark on there, and sometimes it's really quick and easy, and sometimes it takes a little longer. But I've been able to start a fire here every day for the past year, so I know I can do it. There we go. See that spark? And once I've got it, now it just spreads when the wind blows it or when I blow it. You see? Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to use that to help start my fire. And what I do is I kind of wrap it up like this so that I get one end burning. And when I've got one end burning, I stick that end down in the hole where the air comes out. Mm-hmm. So I'll stick that in there, and then I put my charcoal right on top of it, and I can put more. Okay, and now when I pump the bellows, that's when the extra air makes all the difference. And if I were going to be starting a fire out in the pit, for instance, and I didn't have the bellows, I would take that piece of char cloth that's burning, and I would kind of fold it up like that, and I'd put it inside a wad of tinder, like dry Spanish moss or grass clippings or something, or wood shavings. And by having that char cloth in that little, like a bird's nest shape of tinder, I would blow it with my own mouth, and it would flare up. And that's how I would start the fire, for instance, out in the charcoal pit. It doesn't take long for this to start it up. The extra air is significant. It's like having the small bellows that you use to help you start a fire sometimes. It's like that. The charcoal that I put on top that came out of the box, that's making those snapping noises just a little. You hear the snapping because it's wet. That rained on. Yep. Not enough to stop it from working. Really, the only significance is I do hear the snapping noises, and it makes it just a little harder to start, but you see how easy it started. So, yeah, it's not really a problem.